I was requested recently to do a tutorial on soft bodies in Blender, and I'm actually not going to do exactly on soft bodies. I'm going to do the new cloth option, which is basically the same thing, only with some presets. So here's our default view. I'm going to split things up how I like them. There we go. We got the default cube here. I'm going to add a plane here, scale it out, and I'm going to grab it and lift it up above the cube here. With the plane selected, I'm going to click here on our object menu, which is F7, and I'm going to go over here to physics button, and you can see we have soft bodies here and cloth here. I'm going to choose cloth. It has a default preset of cotton. Now if I go to collision and click bake, it's going to fall right through the cube. I'll hit escape there. And reason for this is we don't have the cube set as a collision, so we'll choose the cube, come over here to collision and turn it on, and we'll choose back onto the plane here, and we still, if we click bake, it will fall through it. We can make the plane itself a collision as well and it will collide, but it kind of looks funky. The reason for that is that there's not very many vertices or vertex in there, the little dots that make up the planes and the lines. So I have to free bake this because it's been baked, so the animation is made. I'm going to click free bake so that it's not animated anymore, and I'm going to go to our object mode here, or sorry, edit menu, which is F9, and I'm going to hit, with the plane selected, tab, and I'm going to click subdivide a few times. The more you subdivide it, the slower the rendering out will be, but the more cloth-like it will be. So we have that chosen. I'm going to click back into our object menu, which is F7. And we can turn off collision now because there's enough of the vertex for it to collide with. And we'll click bake again. There we go. So now we got it as a cloth object. It's going to animate, it's going to bake from frame 1 to frame 250 because that's what we have set here. You can change that range. You can have it start at a further number or and end at a further number or a shorter number. So now that it's baked, if I hover my cursor over here and hit Alt A to animate, you can see the animation in a pretty much real time. But you can see it's all blocky looking. Let me go to a frame here. I'll hit F12 to render it out. You can see how blocky looking it is. I am going to fix that by going into our edit mode, and I'm going to set smooth, and I'll hit F12 again to render it out. And it's smoother, but it still isn't perfect. Let's move some lighting around. I'm going to choose the light here, the lamp here, and I'm going to hit Shift D to clone it. I'm going to move it in front of the object here. I'll hit F12 again to render. And it's definitely smoother looking, but it's still kind of bumpy looking. Let's choose the plane again, and here under modifiers, which is under our edit window menu, so it's F9, modifiers, add modifier, and we're going to subsurface it. So subsurf, and we'll hit F12, and you'll see it's much smoother looking. Now you'll also notice that now that we've done that, the cube is sticking out through the cloth. A way we can fix that, with the plane selected, we'll go back into our object menu, and to soft body collision, we'll free bake it, which will undo the animation. And here you can see the minimum distance. We're going to up that a little bit, and that's going to put a little more padding around the object. I'll just go up to about 0.1. Let's see how that looks. I'll click bake. There we go. Now you'll notice that the rendering, the baking here takes a little bit longer because we've added more of the vertex to it, and we've also added the subsurf, which is going to slow it down a little bit, but it doesn't take too long. We'll hit F12 now, see how it looks, and you notice that no longer the cube is sticking through it, and that's because we added the maximum distance here. Now there's a bunch of other options. Let me free bake this. You can see there's settings for silk. The default was cotton. We'll choose silk, and you'll see it's a bit more of a fluid silk-like cloth. I'll hit escape to cancel that bake. And I'll go back to cloth here, and you can also do leather or rubber. These are just different presets. Now you can also manually adjust stuff. So we saw how loose the silk was because the bend stiffness is pretty low here. We'll move the bend stiffness up to about 104, and we'll hit bake, and you can see how stiff it is now. I'll hit escape on that. And but you can play around with these options. For the most part, I use one of the presets and then maybe slightly alter it. But that is a quick look at cloth in Blender 3D. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you visit filmsbychris.com for more video tutorials like this. Have a great